Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming today. My name's Liz Murphy. I work for the City of Fitchburg in the Community Development and Planning Department. I'm thrilled to be here today for this ribbon cutting. This whole project has been absolutely amazing, and we owe a debt of gratitude to the Community Mural Institute and all of our fabulous artists. Although it looks like these murals went up overnight, because the installation was very quick. The project actually started back in the fall of 2021 when our TDI fellow, Francisco Torres, introduced us to CMI, and the Community Mural Institute, and right away we knew that this was going to be a really special project and we wanted to go forward. Over the winter and the fall, the winter and the spring, we did a call for artists. We had a selection committee that helped us select the artists for each mural. And they jumped right in and had community paint parties and learned how to use this polytab technique in the March, is that when we started? March of 2022. And then they've been working hard ever since. So we are thrilled not only that we got to create these 3 new murals, but also teach these 12 artists how to do this technique so that they can then continue on in their work in Fitchburg and the whole area to make more beautiful murals just like this. And we have lots of empty walls, so there'll be more to come. And with that, I'm going to introduce Mayor Stephen D. Natale to say a few words.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Liz. I was told nobody could hear me yesterday, so I guess I got to use the mic. Thank you to the art stewards that put this together. And oh, by the way, probably my favorite one because my mother's favorite flower was the sunflower. So that's always going to be near and dear to my heart. And we thank everyone for their efforts. We thank you all for coming today. And we held off the rain.
Yeah.
Liz was concerned about the rain, but we're good. And thank you all for your contribution to this, and the community certainly thanks you as well. Thanks.
So I'm going to thank a few people who helped make this happen. First, I want to thank the Community Mural Institute, Britt Rue, and Greta McLean, who couldn't be here today because she was on a flight very early this morning, I heard, back to Minneapolis. And also we had an art selection committee that helped us make some difficult choices about which artists to include in this program. It was Francisco Ramos, our community organizer from New View, who I think is here today. Yes, thank you, Francisco. Jesse Olson, the president of the Fitchburg Cultural Alliance. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Jesse. Joe Ferguson, director of Reimagine North of Maine, now soon to be called In Town Fitchburg, who I think could not be here today. Joyce Miller, the Mount Wachusett Community College Art Department chair. Lauren Zumita, am I saying that right? Yeah. Thank you. Art Museum curator. Regina Connery, public health manager at Mock. And Tamar Russell Brown, president of the Fitchburg Cultural Council and owner of Gallery Sitka. Yes. We also want to take just a minute to thank a few local officials, our city clerk's office who let us borrow tables for the paint parties, Jeff at DPW and Tony at PJ Keating for helping us coordinate how to make the lifts work with the sidewalks all torn up. It's not an easy task. Mike O'Hara, who helped us lug heavy buckets around at City Hall when they got delivered for the project. Francisco Torres for connecting us to the Community Mural Institute, and my boss Tom Skorowski for supporting the staff and letting us do this project. Thank you, Tom. And Cindy Dalton, who helped manage this. Cindy helped manage this project until about a week ago when she's moved on to another community. And of course our funders, HUD and the Community Development Block Grant Program and Reimagine North of Maine. And personally, this has just been the best project I think I've ever worked on. So I couldn't be more thrilled, and if I could do this all day, I would. And with that, I will introduce Britt Rue. Ooh, and not trip over the scissors.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for coming. This is so exciting. I have an impossible job, which is to channel the energy of Greta McLean, who, for those of you who have met her, is like a force that cannot be contained. But she is here in spirit, as is the rest of the CMI crew. So to put up these murals and to do all this training is a team effort. And so we had myself and Greta McLean were the co-facilitators and organizers of the CMI. And we also had Isaiah Rue, Anik Sheridan, Tess O'Day, Kenny Calavig, Gabby Sepulveda, and Susan Rayano. So we brought in a whole bunch of people to support, but this amazing crew that we had here in Fitchburg really didn't need all that support. So we ended up with all this free time we didn't know what to do with. It was so weird. So I really want to thank the city of Fitchburg for bringing us here, for the funding. I'm super impressed with the systemic thinking that the city is doing about how to really support the arts and arts infrastructure to be a fuel for community and economic development. I do most of my work in Springfield, and I feel like they could take a lesson, but don't quote me on that. But really, what you guys are doing. Mayor Sarno likes me, so please. But really, thank you so much for that. And I also want to thank In-Town Fitchburg for providing the funding to pay the artists who participated in this training. We feel like this training was really valuable, but it took a lot of hard work. So thank you, In-Town Fitchburg, because artists should be paid for the valuable work that they do for the community. So this mural, The Power of Art, is super exciting. I really do believe art is one of the most powerful tools we have to make the world a better place, and that's really what this mural talks about. And I want to bring Jesse Olson up to speak a little bit about the Art Stewards, because the Art Stewards were the community group. Actually, let me back up for a second. The process that we use to create these murals, this mural was not painted here on the wall. We start with partnering with a community group to listen to them about what themes and images resonate with them or meaningful to them. Then the artist, who was Shara Osgood, did an amazing job. We'll talk more about her in a minute. Created the design. Then we held paint parties. If anybody was at one of the paint parties that helped paint this or another mural, raise your hand. Nice. I see some folks over there who were at every paint party and came to some extra paint parties. So many hands helped paint this mural. Then the crew does all the detail work and cleaning it up in the studio, and then we glue it up like permanent wallpaper. So that's why this part goes so fast, like it wasn't there and then it is. So the community group that we partnered with on this mural was the Fitchburg Art Stewards. So I want to invite Jesse Olson to come up and speak for a minute about the Art Stewards. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Congratulations on the mural. We have... congratulations, it looks great. But just for those of you who don't know, I think half of you here were at one time an art steward. But the art steward started in 2019, and we met regularly at the New View Community Room. But then when COVID happened, we had regular meetings on Zoom, and we did trainings talking about creative economy, creative businesses that people in this region have done, how to fundraise. But I think one of the most exciting conversations we had is about community development and making this city more palatable and more exciting and more inviting. And definitely creating public art was a very exciting topic with the Art Stewards. And so it's great to see that come to fruition. So thank you, Shara and Monique and Amber and Max. It's great to see a lot of our conversations take picture on a wall that we can all walk by. And the Art Stewards has kind of taken a little hiatus in the last couple months, but The Fitchburg Cultural Alliance is actually also comprised of a lot of members of the Art Stewards, and we will be moving into a space on Main Street very soon. And I hope you will join us in the fall when we resume Art Stewards training. And one of the focus that I hope we can talk about is mental health and arts, and I think this mural captures this perfectly. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Shara, for inviting me here, and thank you for creating this and incorporating a lot of ideas I know that are important to you and important to our community.
And now, we're going to hear from the beautiful Shara Osgood, who was the lead artist that designed this mural and led her crew.
First, I just want to say that I am so thankful and proud of everyone in this community. When I'm looking out here, I see so many familiar faces that I didn't know before I became an art steward. And the art stewards have really galvanized all of the cool, amazing projects that are happening right now in town. And I just want to talk a little bit about the themes in this project. I know that some of you were in the listening sessions and helped to create these themes, but we start on the bottom with the rabbit, who represents creativity, curiosity, and productivity, and the children who are drawing representing where creativity starts in youth. And it's really important to support and encourage art and creativity in children as they grow. And as they're growing, it's the sunflower that's growing out of their vision, out of their ideas. And sunflowers represent resilience and strength and beauty and power. All of the waves are the colors of the rainbow, representing everyone. The patterns within those waves represent different cultures in our community. There's Greek, there's the Hmong community, the African community. There's handprints that represent the most primordial, the first art that was ever done. Cave paintings were representing family and community, and they were handprints. The words in the waves, art is healing, art is community, and art is innovation. All of those were ideas that came out of our listening session. The butterflies represent transformation, creativity, and beauty. The guitar player and the crow represent voice and music and all of the other arts in our community. All of it together represents what we can do when we take an idea and put action behind it and have community engaged. And I'm just so proud of this community and everyone who stepped up, and our team, Monique Reverie and Maxwell Zaleski and Amber Haney, who were so amazing to work with. We had so much fun. All the other teams that worked on the other murals as well, we all worked in a studio together, and it was just a magical experience. And I'm so thankful.
Thank you, Shara. And speaking of the studio, I also want to thank the Fitchburg Redevelopment Authority, who gave us the space for our studio, which we loved and we made really good use of, and we're very sad to leave. But another piece of this community. I also want to take a minute, because there are people here in the crowd, other people who participated in the Community Mural Institute. So if you designed one of the other murals, either on Putnam Street or down there, can you just raise your hand and we can give you all some applause. Thank you so much for coming and supporting your fellow artists and CMI participants. So now I want to share with you just a little bit. This is a ribbon cutting. It's also graduation, because we did a lot of work and a lot of learning. So I want to just share a few words about each of the people on this team, and then I'm going to be me and Greta at the same time and talk and hand you the certificates. We'll see how it goes. Shara was an amazing leader of this team. This team, they were all art stewards. Their community group was art stewards. And I think it's a special challenge to be being the voice and the face of people you're a community you're really a part of and people you know. And so I think they walked that line really well. And Shara had to take all of that input from people she knew really well and represent art in Fitchburg in her piece. And that was a real challenge. And she just stepped up so gracefully and just leaned in so hard to the work and to the learning. She was also a great team leader. There was a lot of digging in and holding on and then letting go of control in this process. This happens when you're working with community, when you're working with a team, when you're working with instructors who are, meddling, guiding, meddling, depends on the day. But Shara really handled that transition back and forth amazingly well and ceded a lot of space for growth and leadership in her team. So thank you so much for all that you did. I'm going to give you your certificates after because I can't actually talk and then dig in there at the same time. So, okay. Amber. Amber was one of these, in this team, it's always really good to have like a steady, unflappable, calm, positive energy, no matter what's going on, because we like to think everything is like totally in control all the time, and it often isn't. But Amber really brought that energy to the group. She also really stepped up and took on a challenge that was new for her, really leaned into it, really leaned into the learning, and also accepted the support and the feedback from her team and the instructors in a way that was just very graceful. So thank you so much for all that you did. Maxwell was another one who really also said, I'm here, I'm showing up, I am going to do something I've never done before, and it's going to be really big and really public, and I'm doing it anyway, which is super brave. I mean, I would have a hard time doing that, but Maxwell did. Big part of that, everybody on the team did. But that was leading by example, being brave, taking on the work, asking for help. We also loved that Maxwell brought his parents in to the studio to work. I loved stopping by the studio and seeing like and also Shara brought her family in, her daughter. I love that multi-generational investment in this work. And Maxwell was also a very intentional communicator, asking for things when he needed them, telling us how he felt, telling his team how he felt in a way that that stood out for us. So thank you for all that you did, Maxwell. And Monique. Monique is another, force of nature. Probably everyone here knows her. My guess is everyone knows. She worked so hard, but she really brought the community again and again and again. Thinking about the community, inviting people to the paint parties, having extra paint parties in the studio when we were all done having them, so that the kids that really, she noticed at the paint parties, like, look at these young people who are so into this. I'm going to, organize an extra paint party so that they can come and do more. Like, that stepping up to really embrace community was notable. And then she also just promotes and shares and communicates and really believes in the power of art and in this work. And while she's doing all of that, she's also painting like I'm just going to say something that this wasn't kid-friendly. A really good artist, working really hard. So thank you so much for all that you did, Monique. So I think that is everybody. We're also this is our last thing we're doing in Fitchburg as a Community Mural Institute. We would love to come back. But Fitchburg now has 12 artists, either local to Fitchburg or nearby, people committed to Fitchburg who know how to do this whole thing and are ready to go and ready to work. So the supply is there. The people to do the work are there. Let's get them some balls.
You ready? Yep. 1, 2, 3.
Hey!